Alright, welcome back to another review. This one from FIDE Master Joshua Christie playing against Candidate Master Akeem Brown. Two talented players, and this one full of tactics, so don't blink too much. We have D4 by Joshua, Knight F6 by Akeem, and then we have C4, E6, G3, D5, Bishop G2, and we're going into the Catalan. We have bishop to e7, knight to f3, castles, castles, and you guessed it, pawn takes c4 going into the open lines. Queen to c2 and a6. Now, normally in these types of scenarios, I would play a4 just to stop these b5 moves coming with tempo. But Joshua has everything prepared and plays queen takes c4 right off the bat. We have pawn b5, queen c2, bishop b7, and now this interesting move, bishop to d2. And again, everything so far is well calculated and it's engine approved. We have bishop to e4 again, the best move, and queen to c1 as a reply. So it's dead zeros as we speak, and bishop back to b7. So this is where the first mind game actually starts. And Akeem offers a tiny draw. He's like, I know that we are friends, but do you want a small draw? And Joshua says bishop to a5. Hitting this pawn on c7, which Akeem saw and played knight to c6. But what he did not see is that Joshua still had all of this prepared. Bishop back to d2. And if Akeem was really serious about the draw, he would have went knight back to b8, and we maybe could see a shake of hands. But he got a little bit excited for this cookie on d4 and took the bait. And this is the last time you would see peace on this board. We have knight takes d4, bishop takes g2, intermezzo, knight takes to the e6. Absolute masterclass. Response? This is again aimed at damaging black's pawn structure. Obviously, black could have played queen to c8, followed by knight takes f8, queen to h3, then f3. All you have to know all of this. F3, and you try to win back the material takes, and bishop to c5, and it's a little bit better for black, 0.6, which black has to know. But for humans, he just took back the pawn on e6, and white successfully damaged the pawn structure. So we have king takes g2 and black plays queen to d5. No, I still like black's position. It's absolutely fantastic. Look at the activity. There's just one drawback. It's just the fact that his position in terms of pawn structure is not the best. But look at Joshua's side. No development, weak king, and that's all it takes to lose games. So Joshua takes the time out to play f3 to block the check. And now we see this seriously positional move. Pawn to b4, closing, locking down this entire queen side. How do you develop these pieces? Joshua then now tries bishop to e3 to take this knight out, rook to d8, and now we see knight to d2. This pawn on e2 looked a little weak, so Akeem then played queen to b5, and now we see knight to c4, knight to d5 hitting the bishop, and he drops it back. Now, again, in this position, Akeem could have played the move knight to c3. Everything is equal, but it looks as if black could have gotten a little bit of advantage in these lines with knight to c3, cutting off the access from the knight with this queen, but he chose bishop to c5 instead, and this is where white got his first advantage in this game. We have pawn to a4, masterclass, knight takes, and black is forced to part with the bishop. Now look at the structure as black. This is why you must be very careful when pushing your pawns. They could be weak if not treated carefully. We have queen takes e2, rook to e1, queen back to b5, and one of the weak pawns left the board. Rook to b8 hitting on b2, and now we have another cookie captured. knight to b, and here this is where the things get a little complicated. Take notes, guys. Knight to b5 just cleared the square for the queen to come to d5, but Joshua missed this entire idea, and for the first time in history, ended up in a lost position against Akeem. Rook to a7 blunder, and I could give you some time to calculate how to win this. But rook takes f3 would have just ended the game. That's 1.6 for the black pieces. You could see some lines like rook takes, and queen to d5, force blocks, and then rook to f8, and white cries and goes on. But fortunately for Joshua, Akeem did not see this, panicked and played knight to d3, and resigned 5 moves after. Queen takes to the c7. Queen takes b. No, I know you guys did your tactics. White is threatening checkmate in one. Queen is defending. We need a deflection tactic. Also, black is threatening some nasty stuffs with queen takes f2. So we have rook to e2 on the board, rook to c8, queen to e4, threatening bishop to d4 once the queen moves, and that was the game. Literally ending here. Black played 2 more moves, just knight to e1 and king to h3. It's not even 2 moves, it's one. But yes, the game was just finished here, and both players shake hands and called it a day. Absolute masterclass by Joshua. And again, Akeem is a fantastic player. He went on to win some other matches, but this game in particular was an absolute masterclass. Well played by both.